Hello and welcome. Today we are going to go ahead and take a look at the Taiyo Safari. So the Taiyo Safari is the next of my Safari class ships. These are ships that are designed for you to go ahead and take a small crew and go hunting on strange and distant worlds for whatever strange game happens to be on them. This particular ship is built entirely using Taiyo Taiyo parts from Taiyo Astroneering here on Neon, and you can see we are on the Neon City landing pad right now. All Safari ships are Class A, and they require 0 ranks of Starship design, so anyone should be able to build them provided they meet the level requirements for these components. The requirements for a Safari ship is that it has to have an armory, infirmary, and be able to sleep at least 4 people. This particular ship, you could go ahead and make a small variation to go ahead and let it be a hybrid Safari slash settler, because we do have some extra hab space that we are using, and unlike most of my other Safari ships, I do have a cargo hold, which is the first thing that you see as you enter the ship. So we're entering directly into the cargo hold. On this side over here, we have our infirmary. This particular infirmary, you could swap this out with a workshop if you wanted to go ahead and have this be a hybrid settler slash safari ship. Coming in here, we have the armory. As you can see, we've got a little bit of space for some guns, a little bit of storage space, a nice window looking out the front, and then a brig in case whatever you're hunting happens to be more intelligent than average. Coming on through this side, we are going to enter into the 2x2 all-in-one berth, which you'll see has a nice little galley here, plenty of seating, 4 beds located right here, extra space for some other cargo if we want it, a bathroom right here. And then forward here, this is going to be the 2x1 captain's quarters. If you want this to go ahead and be a settler as well, we would go ahead and put the infirmary over here. So that way you don't need to climb a ladder to if you have an injured person. Next, coming back here, we come into the 2x1 all-in-one berth. We've got another 4 beds, a bathroom here, another galley located right here. Next, we've got the one ladder on the ship. You can see that this is going up to our docker as well. And then if we just jump up here, we are entering into a 1x1 all-in-one or 1x1 companionway. Finally, this is kind of the spare hab on the ship. This is going to be a 2x1, and this is a control station. And again, if we wanted this to be the settler, we would remove the control station and turn this into the captain's quarters, or the captain would just have to sleep with somebody else and share some bunks. Finally, we move forward, and here is our cockpit. Nothing too special, it's just the usual Taiyo cockpit. Alrighty, so that is the Taiyo Safari interior tour. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how this ship is built. Need to go on in here, and we're going to travel to Neon Core. So, as you go through Neon, we have to go to the Ryujin Tower, and then we have to go down the elevator to get to Taiyo Astroneering. This, by the way, makes this my least favorite builder to go ahead and build ships for, because you have to go through so many different loading screens just to go ahead and see if the ship layout is doing what you want it to do. That being said, I do enjoy the Taiyo parts for the most part. However, if I was building lots of Taiyo ships, I would go ahead and do something that would unlock the parts from any vendor or from my ship outpost pad, rather than having to jump through all these loading screens all the time. So here's the Taiyo Safari. And I am going to go ahead and put the colors into my palette really quick. And then I'm going to select it all and delete it. All right. So from a blank slate, let's go ahead and build the ship. Step one, we are going to go ahead and start with our landing bay. And then we are going to come on in here, and looks like I went ahead and used the all-in-one berth mid. You could also use the bottom B, but we are going to need these side ports, so it's just whichever version you would like to use. Now, for this particular one, I want to go ahead and convert on over to the cargo hull. Next up, I have the mid-berth here, and this one is going to be that infirmary. Or, as I mentioned, if I wanted to go ahead and make this a settler as well, let's actually just show that off. I'm going to go ahead and make this a workshop. Next up, I'm going to grab another 2x1, and this is going to be the armory. Got that placed right here. And then I'm just going to copy this on over here and convert that onto the all-in-one. And then for this side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the infirmary here. Again, this is, I made the decision to build this as a hybrid safari slash settler, so you can use it for whichever purpose you want. Next up, off the back of this, I'm going to go ahead and choose the bottom A for the all-in-one berth. Using this so that way I do not have that side access point. This is going to guarantee that the doors are on the back of this armory and not doing some sort of snake through here to get around. Next, on the back of the all-in-one berth, I'm going to go ahead and choose my companionway, choosing the top of B because I do need side connections for my engine mounts, and this gives that to me. Then I have a top A berth, 2x1, and for this one I can go ahead and either put my captain's quarters here, or I can keep that as the control station if I want that extra crew space. For this particular ship, let's go ahead and just make that the captain's quarters this time. Then I'm going to come on in here to the cockpits. These are all absolutely identical aside from how much cargo they take, how much they cost, and whether or not you need Starship design. So the best one that you can use is the Shogun, so that's what I'm using, but if you want to save some credits, you can easily swap that out with any of these other ones. Finally, I'm going to come on over here to the Dockers, just place that right there. Another thing that you could do is you could go ahead and put the Docker on the underside, say like right here, or say maybe right here, if you wanted to go ahead and have the docking axis on the same level as much of the rest of the ship. Alright, so that is all the habitable portions of the ship. So let's go ahead now and add the grav drive and reactor. Now when I come on over here to the reactors, you will see that I have the stellarators. the Spheromac, which all requires Starship design, and the Tokamaks. I do not have the toroidal reactors available to me from what's called Taiyo Astroneering. Now, the Tokamak reactors are really cool. However, for me to get 20 power, I would need Starship Design rank 1 for some reason. Whereas I can use the Stellarator 360 and get 20 power without Starship Design. So that's why we're using the Stellarator today. I'm going to put one of them here and then one of them here. Which side you put the reactor and grav drive does not matter. We are going to be hiding that under some structural components. That being said, coming on over here, I'm going to just choose the R3000 Alpha Grav Drive for that 23 grav jump thrust. All right, next up, let's go ahead and add our landing gear. So for this ship, I have 4 pinpoint 3Gs on each side of the ship. This is, as a matter of fact, more lander thrust than we actually need. I just like the look of this, and I always love the kind of false engine that's at the back of this, which is why I use it so frequently. Next, I'm going to start adding some structural components. So if I come on here into the structural tab, this ship is probably 3/4 Taiyo midcaps. All right. This then forms basically the bottom of the ship. And since I'm here anyways, let's go ahead and toss the nose caps on here. And while I'm at it, also here. All right, so now while I'm back here, I'm going to go ahead and add my engines. For this ship, I'm using 4 of the Ares DT-30s. I'm placing 2 of them up here. And then you can see that I've got 2 connection points here. I can either put them on the upper or I can put them on the lower and stagger them a little bit. Note, putting it on the low, it is still going to clear the ground. However, it's just a question of, do you like the staggered look, or would you rather have it be kind of even here? It's entirely up to you. For the picture, or for the initial view of the ship that we looked at, I did have it staggered, but just to change things up again, I'm going to go ahead and shift this to be back even now. Note this, we cannot pull down though, because we chose this all-in-one berth that does not have the side access ports. If you were using the Place Doors Yourself mod, you could go ahead and use the one at the bottom B that has the side ports, and then still guarantee that you have the passageways where you want them. However, without using that mod, this is the only way to really control what the flow of the ship is going to look like. All right, now let's go ahead and just finish slapping down a whole bunch of these. All right, and this is more or less what the ship is going to look like. However, we are also going to go ahead and do some glitching. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be hiding my shield, I'm going to be hiding my reactor and my grav drive, I'm going to be hiding my fuel, and I'm also going to be hiding my cargo all in this mid-caps area. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this off forward. this forward. And then while I am here, just going to go ahead and duplicate downwards. And what I did there is I just selected the things I wanted to duplicate, chose the bottom of this tower, copied, and then pulled it down, and that's duplicating it downwards. Now that I've done that, I can remove those pieces. Then over here, I'm going to go ahead and slap on my shield. For this particular ship, I went with the deflector SG30, primarily because it hides in these caps very nicely. Then I can flip this into place, and that is hidden. On this side, I'm going to go ahead and come on over to my fuel tanks, and you'll see I chose the M30 Ulysses HE3 tank, just as an effort to hide it more. Mostly because if I went down to the Titan tanks, these do stick up a little bit out of the top of these. It's not the end of the world, it's just this hides a little bit better. And you can see with these, I tried doing the flip glitch to get that into place, and decided not to, so I duplicated it down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just add a couple more structural pieces, which is just adding these Taiyo cowlings, two right here, and then one above this. Now, if you look here, you will see that right now we are at 94 mobility and 29 light year jump range. So we could stop here if we are okay with the 280 cargo. Or I can pull a couple of these pieces off, and I can come on over to the cargo, and I can add in the Caravel V102 cargo holds. I could also use the V101s, however, it's not over much more mass to do the V102s. And then I need to flip this back into place. And then it doesn't want to flip, so I duplicate it down. So I'm going to put one on this side, and then I'm going to put two on this side. There we go. You can see my jump range is now 27, and I only have 63 mobility. I cannot go ahead and add any more cargo, or I am going to drop below that 27 light year jump range. Now for the final little bits of the ship, if I come on over here to the structural tab, I have some side caps. I'll just flip that into place. There we go. And now I have a whole bunch of side caps on. My mobility has dropped a little bit more, but that is not the end of the world. Now, these caps have a variant, so you can either have it like this, or you can have it like this, just changing the variant, and that gives me a weapon mount. Now, from here, I'm going to go ahead and add my weapons. On this particular ship, I went with two of the Ravager 20 MEVs. And then I also went with two CE09s. betting I didn't have that, or maybe that one. Yeah. I have added an additional piece somewhere, and I'm not sure where. Oh, that's what it was. I removed these two, but the original build I had a pair of equipment plates on here. And I did this just to go ahead and be able to mount the missiles on top. So I can put them here. I can also change the variance here to go ahead and have the missiles or these lowered, or I can put them out here. It really is entirely up to you where you want to put them. Just so that way I've got things slightly different, I'm going to go ahead and add those pieces that I liked the look of here. And then I'm going to just go ahead and put the missiles on the outside of the ship. And remove those equipment plates. Again, just however you want to work with it, it's entirely up to you. From here, I do have one error left, and that is just assigning weapons. There we go. Now all that is left to do with this ship is to paint it. You'll see that aside from just where you want to mount the weapons, the only other difference now between what I started with and what I rebuilt is the crew size. Again, that is because I decided to swap this from the infirmary to a workshop, put the infirmary over here, and then have a captain's quarters here instead of the control room. If you want, you can just swap these around however you would like. The only thing that you are going to need to be aware of, though, is that the back of the all-in-one berth for Taiyo is where the bathroom and the beds are all located. This means that if you want to go ahead and have the beds here, you need to have this particular piece with nothing attaching in from the sides be where you have that located. Because if you were to put the all-in-one berth here, or here, or here, you are going to be losing two beds. And if you would put it right here, then you are going to lose every single bed that you had. Now, one of the things that you could do is we could go ahead and make this the captain's quarters, put this control station, and then swap this out for another all-in-one berth. Or we could say slide this forward, keep it in as the A, and then pull this back. And then by doing that, if we, let's say, make this the captain's quarters, we're going to have a rear entry across this way by having this A piece forward. And if you do that, then the all-in-one berth, you will have a bathroom located right here, right next to the landing bay. Convenient. If you want to go ahead and use these for all of your um, bunks and such. So as you can see, there is a good bit of variation that you could do and more or less keep the ship functioning how you want it to do. From here, I'm just going to go ahead and put my paints back on. And now that my ship is painted, let's go ahead and exit. And then fast travel back on over. Get back in the ship. And let's take off and get some pictures. And now that I'm in orbit, There we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.